Hello and welcome to The Reasons I'm Broke. This is episode number 26. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly. And we're going to start right off the bat with the Superior Spider-Man. This is the third one we've had this month?
Yeah.
They're coming out almost every week. But this one's number 5. It was written by Dan Slott and drawn by Giuseppe Camuncoli. This was a really good issue.
It was excellent, yes. I really liked it.
I continued to enjoy the differences that you're seeing between Doc Ock and Peter Parker, and furthermore, how I think they're both kind of shaping each other, having to kind of share this consciousness.
A new character is introduced in this, in number 5. Peter Parker's getting some tutoring for his chemistry test, and I think this could potentially be a love story for Doc Ock, Superior Spider-Man.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was even reading this. I'm kind of hoping that they can get separated again so Doc Ock can continue to pursue this. She's a little person.
Yeah.
But she offers tutoring for $60 an hour, which is ridiculous, but it comes with a home-cooked meal. So they're sitting around, talking about chemistry or physics, or it was one of those. She brings up the comment, oh, I thought you were just, a guy who got off on your looks. You got by your looks, but you're pretty much a genius. So they're kind of, I guess, wowing each other within that, because he's impressed by her and her cooking and who she is, and she's equally impressed. I mean, not only is, he good looking, but he's a genius as well.
Yeah, I really want to see Doc Ock develop a love story with this new character, and I want it to continue before Peter Parker eventually gets back into his own body. I still want it to be only Doc Ock as Superior Spider-Man. I would not even be opposed to them somehow merging their minds together and memories and becoming like a mix of the two characters, because then I could still sort of pretend that Spider-Man has the edge that Doc Ock has.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing about this is there's a mass murderer called Massacre that just blew all these fucking people away in this restaurant, in this burger joint. And now it's making the company look bad, because all everyone thinks about is the massacre when they think about this burger company. So he comes up to the head of the company and he tells the woman that runs it, I will kill more people, but I'll wear your competitor's shirt instead. Just pay me money and I'll go do this.
$12 million.
$12 million.
And he'd go to the middle of New York and just destroy people.
Yeah, Mocha-Cola was the name of the other company. What was funny about it is he's wearing this shirt with the logo on it, and it resembles one of the old Marvel logos from like the 90s. I thought that was really clever.
That is cool. Anyway, as the story progressed, of course, Spider-Man stops him. One thing that I liked about it is Doc Ock is talking to the police, and he's like, okay, I need police backup. And Peter's like, oh, why didn't I ever think of that? And then he goes, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And Peter's like, but it's 5 minutes away at the most. What is he doing? Doc Ock actually remembers that this guy, Massacre, has a habit of holding hostages in another location where he could then blow them up if leverage.
If things go wrong, yeah.
Right. And so he goes and he saves them first before he goes after Massacre. And then actually only, 1 or 2 people die? It was very few as opposed to 20s, 30s that would have happened otherwise.
Yeah, because the Massacre says, I have 5 hostages strapped to incendiary devices. Doc Ock, Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, interrupts him and says, in a warehouse 20 blocks away? No, you don't. And I was like, oh, this is kind of like Batman of the Marvel Universe right now.
Right.
Doc Ock's really badass.
I think he's a great Spider-Man. There is the conflict at the end. Do you want to give it away?
No, but he does do something that Peter Parker wouldn't do.
Absolutely something, and Peter Parker tries to stop him. I don't think it was a bad decision, personally.
The city loved him for it. Peter Parker wouldn't do it. At the end of the day, Otto is still a villain, but I like to think that this transformation into the Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, being in Peter Parker's mind would somewhat transform him into not so much an evil person, but a good person, which we have been seeing. And this action at the end, I wouldn't say is an evil act. I think it's more of him bringing permanent justice to his city.
Well, beyond that, it's the logical act. The thing you're seeing with Doc Ock Spider-Man, and the reason he is a superior Spider-Man is because he's putting logic first in everything that he does. He created his little spider bots because logically he's going to be able to cover more ground if he has those with the facial recognition. I mean, how fast did he find Massacre?
Super fast.
Spider-Man wouldn't have found him until he was already blowing people's heads off.
Yeah.
He's taken the steps to put Mary Jane aside because he knows, that's the most logical step for him to continue being Spider-Man in the capacity that he is.
But Superior Spider-Man number 5, this will actually be my pick of the week. It was a very good issue.
It was.
Next is the final issue in the Before Watchmen Rorschach series. This is number 4 of 4. And this one, of course, is written by Brian Azzarello, drawn by Lee Bermejo. You continue the story of Rorschach after he was captured. And okay, this is what we did. Last time we talked about the book, we pretty much covered how he was somewhat developing a love story with another character, with the waitress at the diner.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been a little bit of a trend with these Before Watchmen books, and this is why it's my pass of the week. They don't tie it off well. You don't develop the love story between Rorschach and this waitress, and instead it ends in a way that the city is revealed to Rorschach, which is something he says in the regular Watchmen series.
I wouldn't say that they don't develop the love story, though, because it says at the end that Rorschach made his last mistake that night. He understands that trying to get close to this woman was a mistake because of the pain that it brought her. He still cares for her, obviously, because he goes and takes care of that guy who messed her up.
Who tried to kill her, yeah.
Right. Well, he didn't try to... Well, yeah, I guess he did try to kill her. It could have been written better so that you saw that completely. You kind of had to read between the lines to get the rest of that story. But he understood that, he can't get close to people because this shit's going to happen to them because of who he is.
Yeah, at this point, we just have Comedian and Ozymandias left. Overall, I think you probably like the Rorschach series, the last issue, more than I did.
Yes, I think I did. I think I understood because I know everything about love. Like you said, we kind of see the trend where it just kind of drops off at the end. And Rorschach wasn't one of my favorites. I don't think it was as well written as Silk Spectre.
Minutemen.
Right. Minutemen was the best one they've brought out so far. It wasn't terrible. I think this is my second from my least favorite.
The first one being Comedian. Yeah.
I don't really like Ozzy either. He talks too much.
Love Ozymandias.
No, I know you do, but he talks too much. Next, we have my pick of the week, which is Wrath of the First Lantern, Green Lantern, number 18. It was written by Jeff Johns, drawn by Simon Kradansky. Phenomenal.
Very good issue.
I loved it.
Makes me miss Jeff Johns even more once he hits issue 20.
Yeah, but you get to see into the last one where the Black Lantern uses his ring, traps Simon Baz inside his ring, and he's actually there with Sinestro and Hal Jordan and all the various other people who are dead, just millions and millions. And you find out he's not actually dead, but you get to see how his personality really is like Sinestro and Hal, which is what I think they were trying to drive in even from the first issue, is that he was created by these two who wanted someone like themselves, and he's like their love child.
Yeah, the ring went out to find someone, and what Sinestro was accusing Hal of was overriding his program to find the right person to come and rescue them. It kind of intentionally, like you said, found someone that split in the middle between the two. He's not as courageous as Hal Jordan, but he will do what it takes, like Sinestro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was a great issue. We got to see more of the Guardians, the ones that Simon Baz had just freed. You get the little squirrel man.
Yeah.
He was pretty cool. I loved the art in this. It was all black and white when you're actually inside the ring, except for
hints of green.
Right, hints of green. And it was beautiful. The lighting in it was gorgeous. The ending is... I'm really excited. Really excited.
Especially
with this
if you're a Sinestro fan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm more excited for the next page. No, not that page. That's Constantine. That page. What's going to happen with that?
See, I didn't really get what was going on in that final page.
You didn't get what was going on? Are we spoiling?
Hal Jordan... Yeah, let's go ahead and spoil. I mean, Hal Jordan's trying to get out.
Right. He sees... Well, there's a battle between Hal Jordan and Sinestro because Simon Baz's ring splits. The ring wants to go to one of the two of them because it is a mix between the two of them. The thing is, they're not really dead. They still have one foot in the land of the living. Sinestro uses sneaky tactics and shows Hal a picture of Carol, who is in pain. That causes Hal momentary fear, so it goes to the person with a stronger will, which is Sinestro, in that moment. So Sinestro escapes with Simon. So now Hal's trying to escape, and the only ring left in there, because...
okay.
What's his name? Oh, no, I always forget his name. Tomare?
Mm-hmm.
He's sitting there, he's like, nobody's ever escaped, and the only ring in there is the black ring, but he can't use it because he's not dead. So the final panel that you see is him standing on the edge of the cliff saying, well, what if I didn't have my foot still in the land of the living as well? Which leads back to several issues ago when the book said Hal Jordan would be the greatest Black Lantern. Boom! Yes! Amazing issue. My pick of the week.
I see why you liked it.
See, now don't you like it better? You changed
I do
your
like
pick
it
of the
better.
week?
No, I still like Superior Spider-Man so much, but this was a very good issue. And
It was.
And it's probably going to be Hal Jordan that ends up stopping the first Lantern, but it is going to be cool to see Sinestro try to take this guy on, because he's like, show me this first Lantern. We'll break him with my hands.
But Hal Jordan's going to be a Black Lantern now. He's going to be dead. What's going to happen? Oh,
we'll find out.
spooky.
Yeah, 2 issues.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And moving into the Batman side, Legends of the Dark Knight number 6. Remember, these are stories that come out in digital form first, and then they collect them in these collections, usually for $3.99 in these physical books that come out. You get 3 stories in this particular issue, and I was very pleased with all 3.
See, you're liking this series. I'm not. I don't know.
The first one was very throwaway. There was no real story told. It's literally a story of Batman stopping a couple criminals.
Well, and I can see where they were going with that one, because it's these criminals are running. There's 3 or 4 of them, and they all split up into different directions, but every time each of them looks behind them, Batman's there. So, and it ends, the title was Gotham Spirit. And I can understand that one, because that's kind of what Batman is. He's kind of this ghost, this phantom that physically should not be there behind you, but he always is trying to stop you.
And this one was written by Jeff Parker and the art by Gabriel Hardman. But it was my least favorite of the 3 stories.
Yeah, mine too.
The second one I really enjoyed because I still like the dynamic that Killer Croc brings to the Batman universe. He's almost like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and he has this inner beauty, this inner side to him, this soft part of him. But on the outside, he's this ugly crocodile man. This one was written by Michael Avon Oeming, and he was also the artist of this section. Drawn gorgeously, too.
It was. It took a little getting used to, but it was pretty.
Batman pretty much fights a dragon this entire story, and Batman's trying to figure out. He actually webs the dragon at one point. It looks exactly like a Spider-Man's web.
Yeah.
Tries to tranquilize it, but doesn't want to kill it. And eventually, Killer Croc saves Batman. And it turns out that this was an experiment of sorts by Killer Croc to try to make up a family of his own.
Right. But it turns out that the dragon does actually die in the end, because he was supposed to take some medicine, and he wasn't able to take it, or something happened where he didn't take it, and his immune system actually turned on himself, which is why he was running rampant around Gotham anyway.
And the cool thing is, Killer Croc could have killed Batman at that point, but he says, you tried to save it, I'll kill you next time. Let's Batman live.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that says a lot about the character, that he does have a little bit of humanity in him, even though Killer Croc still admits to himself, well, this is just more evidence and support that I could never be human. I'm always going to be a monster, just like everyone else.
I think Killer Croc has more humanity in him than a lot of the Batman villains.
Who would you say he has more humanity than?
Oh, a lot of them. Because he's showing compassion. He's always trying to fit in. You remember the animated series when he was chilling with the circus people and with Baby Doll, and he wants to be human so badly, and because he's convinced himself that he can't be, that's the only reason he's not. Batman could find a cure in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I can see that.
But because he feels so shitty about himself, which is a very human trait, he feels like this is how he has to look, this is how he has to be.
You're right.
Oh,
but that was my second favorite story. My favorite one was actually this third one of the Legends of the Dark Knight number 6. It's called Look Inside. It's written by Rob Williams. Introduces, I think, a new character, a new villain. I haven't seen him before this, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a new villain, has no name, wears all white. He's almost like a ghost. He's a phantom.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a carriage, a car.
A hearse.
That he opens up. And when people look inside, they see their worst fear, and they're completely paralyzed. And he throws them inside, and they're never seen again. You don't know what he does to them. But he's first hired by the Penguin to bring down a rival, someone that is trying to take away Penguin's power. And he takes care of him. This man with no name, this old guy with these sunglasses, really creepy looking. But eventually he starts to take over Penguin's power. And now Batman's like, okay, there's a new threat to Gotham. Now I'm intrigued, because Penguin goes to Batman for help.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Penguin is the bait, and Batman waits around. He gets caught by this by this old man ghost Phantom villain, and he's stronger than Batman. So at first I'm thinking, is he like a cyborg robot thing? I don't understand, but I thought he was still a cool character. They never really explain it.
Mm-mm.
But when he shows Batman the back of the carriage, because he has him held by his neck, and he's showing Batman at first starts to freak out, but then he kind of snaps out of it, hits him in the head, and takes advantage of this villain with no name, because Batman is always living that worst fear. He is that fear, so that would never paralyze him.
Right, because that's what you saw when he opened the back of his hearse. The person would see their worst fear. And Penguin actually does realize you have a little inner monologue, I guess, that he always wondered how Batman could overcome that, but then he realized Batman spent so long looking at his worst fear, that's what created him.
And he stops this villain, puts him at Arkham Asylum, and they lock away the hearse as well, but separately. So I thought it was a really, really cool issue. Really cool story.
There are parts of each of these that I like, and maybe it's because they're so short. I don't feel like they could be as well-rounded, or that I don't feel like they are as well-rounded as they could be. And I don't know, I just don't like them.
Well, that was Legends of the Dark Knight #6. There's something similar coming out. I think it's called The Adventures of Superman. That'll be coming out in a couple of months. It got solicited. So if you're enjoying the Legends of the Dark Knight series, you should probably also pick up that Superman one that's coming up.
Do we get to see him being gay for Batman in it? Like,
all the time?
Hiding behind bushes because he's there and stuff? Dressing up as a lady for the ball?
What are you doing in Metropolis?
You could have called, you know. Next we have Batman Detective Comics, #18. It says Requiem on the front with a little Robin R, and he's holding Robin's cape.
Supposedly a tie-in to the death of Damian.
I didn't see it. But anyway, it was written by John Layman and drawn by Jason Fabok. You only have one little scene pertaining to Damian. This focuses largely on Penguin and Emperor Penguin, and how Emperor Penguin has now completely overthrown Penguin. Penguin got what was coming to him. Zsasz is running around like a crazy mofo. And Batman cries.
Yeah, I asked her, like, is it in character for Batman to cry after a death?
Yes.
The only other time, did we ever see him cry with his parents' death? I think we did.
Probably.
But now he cries when he's at Damian's grave.
Well, Damian's death is even worse for Batman, because not only has he lost his son, but he's lost another Robin as well, which he swore he would never do.
Yeah.
And beyond that, okay, now, don't get out of hand. Okay, I'm going to say something, and you're not going to get out of hand, okay?
Try not to.
No. You're not going to get out of hand.
Go ahead.
Okay. Not only has he lost a Robin and his son, but it was at the hands of a woman that he cared about, who should have cared about him and their son.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Okay, don't get crazy
No.
with Talia 11 and Batman thingies.
No, you're right. I'm sure he feels in some way betrayed, too.
Right, absolutely. Well, not only has she betrayed him, I won't say he betrayed, but he let down his son.
And there's still not that conflict between Bruce and Alfred, which I wanted to see in this. Alfred does come out and tries to comfort Batman by saying, Master Bruce, do you need anything? And Batman just says, nothing you can give me, Alfred.
And then he cries.
Just one tear.
But this may not necessarily be directly after he dies.
Yeah, it could be some time after. And that's one problem I had with this book, is it felt like these two pages were just kind of thrown together because, oh, Damian died, we have to talk about it. And I feel like the writer was told, hey, include some part of Damian's death in your story. Because it then just goes back to him in the Batcave, like, now we have to stop these other monsters. Monsters like the one that took Damian are running around in Gotham.
Or we can be optimistic and say that, okay, this takes place several months later, he's still not over that death. It still affects him to the point where he cries, which you never see Batman do. Barbara got shot, didn't cry.
But the new Penguin, Emperor Penguin, which I've been really liking, and I still like him in this issue, too.
I really like his character. I like him more than
regular
Oswald.
Penguin.
Yeah.
He's going to take the Man-Bat serum, and I'm very excited to see that. And he's not going to be a Man-Bat, of course, but I'm sure he's going to change it in some way, because he's a smart guy. He took over Penguin's kingdom.
From the inside.
He compared himself to a cuckoo bird, because they lay their eggs in another bird's nest. It was really, really smartly written.
Right. I liked getting to see Zsasz, too. This extra story, though, of Zaz's origin, I felt like we've read that before.
Yeah, it was, where did we read that?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember.
It was in something before, but basically in this New 52, Zsasz lost all his fortune in Penguin's casino, and then Penguin was a total ass about it. And so Emperor Penguin, as his final motion, I guess, turns Zaz loose on Penguin. Says kill his lawyers so they can't break him out of jail. Do what you want with him. I don't really care.
There's also a little tie-in to the Talon series in this, with Emperor Penguin protecting someone from that.
As well as, and you can tell this back portion clearly took place before during Death of the Family, because you see Joker as well.
Something else that I thought was interesting, last thing I want to talk about in this book, was the knife that Emperor Penguin hands Zaz has like an owl design on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's that from? Is it from something I saw?
Circle.
It all connects together
I'm
very
sure it
nicely.
does.
And the final book in the DC side is Superman Family Adventures number 10, written by Art Baltazar and drawn by Franco. This continues the story of Superman's mom running around with him, and now they actually get
his dad
in it.
That was
Jor-El.
so sweet. One thing I liked about this is, I guess his dad's a ghost. Essentially a ghost.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so he brings him back, and it's only for 24 hours. And I like that his parents didn't spend time catching up with him.
Yeah.
His parents went, see you later, we're going to go do our own thing. And we all know what that thing was.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, Zod is running around with his family, and his big plan is to sell hot dogs. The Zod dogs.
Yes, because he said, last time we came to Earth, we made them fear us, and it didn't work. This time we're going to make them love us.
And that's his big plan, which is like always the twist in Superman Family Adventures. Like, they make the villains really silly, and I love it. But with the help of his parents, Superman fights Zod and his family, and they end up stopping them. But it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, because now we got Brainiac.
Because he uses red kryptonite salt and blows up Kandor.
To be continued.
How many more issues do they have?
I think 2 or 3 are left, and then it's over. Like, I know it's like a month or 2 right before Man of Steel. So on their podcast, Art and Franco, they were saying that it's like the appetizer before the big meal, which is Man of Steel.
Well, hopefully they'll be able to round it out nicely. The last one we have is Adventures of Fionna and Cake. This is number 3 of 6. Of course, created by Pendleton Ward. Written and illustrated by Natasha Allegri. This was really cute. I don't think I liked it as much as the others, but now we got all 3 of her love interests in the same room. I think 2 of them are gay for each other. Just throwing that out there. Read it. Tell me what you think. But it was a cute issue.
The art still holds up. Still drawn really well. It's all about Fionna rescuing the Prince Bubblegum or whatever his name is.
Prince Gumball.
I never get his name right.
With Marshall Lee. Marshall Lee shows up, and he's like, whoa, we were totally having boy night. Oh, but she wasn't invited this time, the first time in forever. Anyway, and he totally got stuck in some flan. You have to come help him.
Yeah, and he was actually trying to make her something. They were all trying to make her something special, and they make her a sword.
That grants wishes. 3 wishes.
And I thought Cake was really funny in this issue, too.
Hilarious.
Yelling at everyone, get in my baby sling!
She's got a baby sling, and that's how she carries everybody, which is really cute.
And Marshall Lee doesn't want to get in it, but Cake yells at him.
Cake does not like Marshall Lee. I must say, though, I think I like Marshall Lee's character better in the TV show than I did in the comic book. Because they made him like this real bad boy in the TV show, and then in the comic book, he's baking cakes and holding hands with Prince Bubblegum. And we still don't have Flame Prince back to normal, though. He's still this little fireball.
Yeah.
That they actually use to help bake the cake.
Who do you think she's going to end up with?
Well, it's got to be Flame Prince now, because those 2 are gay for each other.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Flame Prince. I think it's going to be Prince Gumball or whatever.
I think it's going to be Marshall Lee, because I think that's who people like the best.
Really?
Yeah, just like in the show, people like Marceline better than either of Finn's other love interests.
We'll see. We'll find out. I think there's like 3 issues left.
Yep.
It's going to be a 6-issue series.
3 of 6. So, but maybe they'll continue on with it.
And I think we did mention it before, but there's an Adventure Time graphic novel. It's all original.
Cool.
It's called Playing with Fire.
Aww.
It's going to have Finn and the Flame Princess.
Aww, they're so cute. But they can't be together because she burns him.
She only hurts everyone.
It's so sad.
She's like the rogue of Adventure Time. You can't touch her.
That's so sad. She's got to take that serum that takes away her powers.
And we also did see Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 2.
Yes, I cried.
very well done. I liked it more than part one.
Mm-hmm. I did as well.
And part one was really good too. This one, it has the fight with Joker, and it has the fight with Superman to cap it off with.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, based on the comic book by Frank Miller. And I felt like this movie captured the feel of the book, not only in terms of content, like, yeah, you don't have the inner monologue or anything, but it feels like an 80s movie. It has like the soundtrack itself, it sounds like an 80s movie. When you have Batman fighting the Joker in the Tunnel of Love, that entire soundtrack, just watch that scene. You might find it on YouTube by itself, but it's one entire piece of music, and it ends with the spoilers with the death of Joker.
Mm-hmm. Well, even having, because I've never read the book, even having never read that, it was still a phenomenal movie. You're sitting on the edge of your seat the whole time wondering what's going to happen next. And it was really well done.
And Conan O'Brien did the voice of one of the talk show guys that gets
Yes.
murdered by the Joker.
That was awesome.
He did great,
Mm-hmm.
I felt. I don't know if that was Andy that was like his co-host. It sounded exactly like Andy Richter, but it would have been nice if it was. I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up.
Hmm.
And what do you think of Joker's voice in this?
I didn't think it was terrible. He was really creepy to me. Even from the beginning. He was just... And I love Mark Hamill. He's going to be my favorite Joker for forever.
Yeah.
But I felt that this Joker fit very well with the theme that they were going with the movie. He was very eerie, but in a kind of sophisticated way, because, he goes and he puts on his lipstick and his suit's all nicely done.
And he does sound like a man that hasn't been exposed to the public world in a long time. He does sound creepy. His voice is really light. When he gets around Batman, he just whispers and admires Batman, and he knows that this final encounter is going to be the end of one of them.
Right.
And then the voice of Superman, spot on.
Super gay for Batman.
Yeah.
And the whole thing. My favorite was, "Don't touch him!"
Yeah, at the very end.
Yes, and then he cries.
I'm not done with his body yet.
Gross.
You don't deserve him.
Gross. That made me cry, though. That was
And
really sad.
my other favorite scene, too, was when Batman and Catwoman, when he rescues her, and she's just, like, really traumatized by the things that Joker did to her, and he just takes her in his arms and gives her a big kiss before he leaves.
Aw, and she was all old and ugly, too, but he still loved her.
Because if you remember in part one, when Bruce is just sitting there drinking and remembering, she leaves him a message on the voicemail that says, "Bruce, please call me back. I'm really lonely." And then now he's Batman again, and he returns, and I think that, like, those feelings that he had for Catwoman are reawakened when he puts on the cape and cowl one more time.
Well, before he was Batman again, though, he didn't have anything to live for. So how do you expect to have another person in your life to care about somebody else when you don't even care about yourself?
And the whole theme of this movie, of this whole story, is in the beginning he's talking about what would be a grand death. He wants to know what would be the final and appropriate way for him to go out. And that's one of the reasons he went out, is to just take care of Gotham one more time. He's tired. When Joker returns, he's tired of it, so he knows that's going to be it for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the very end of the movie, it's more about Batman's new life than it is about what kind of death he gave himself.
Right.
And I felt that was very fitting for the whole story.
Yep, it was. It was very well-rounded. I even liked where at the end he's training these new people, or even when, there's that nuclear explosion. All the power goes out everywhere. There's riots everywhere except for Gotham. Because Batman shows up and he's like, "Listen, we are the law tonight. Cops can't do anything. We're the only ones who can keep the city in order, because if we don't, it's all going to go to shit, and we won't have anything to come back to."
Yeah, this is like the pre-Batman Beyond with the ending, because they all still respect Batman even when he's not wearing the cape and cowl, and spoilers again when they know that he's Bruce Wayne, but he's training them, and it's like a Batman Inc., but with Batman Beyond twist, because it's old man Bruce.
Yes.
And my favorite is when
Damian doesn't die.
And Damien doesn't die, right? He takes, like, their guns, and he's like, "We're not going to use these. Guns are for cowards," and breaks it in half. He's like, "You're going to use your fists tonight. Soon I will teach you how to use these," and he shows them his batarangs. And he's like, "But tonight, it's all about your punches and what you actually do and your intellect and your intelligence. That's how we're going to keep order in Gotham." I'm like, "Yeah, Batman, you tell him."
I did like that during the fight with Superman, though, he gets Green Arrow in there. I still don't know how he shot that arrow.
with his mouth and then with one hand.
Oh.
He pulled it back with his mouth because Green Arrow has one arm.
Right. But I like that he turned him human for just a little while.
To show
Right.
Superman and to remind him of the man that beat him forever, and that's Batman.
Oh, he'll never forget Batman.
I like how the whole time Superman's like, stop it, we don't have to fight. This is ridiculous. Like, he doesn't really want to hurt him.
Let's go home and crawl into bed.
I'm through, Superman. And Batman was just going after Superman the entire time. He just did not give up. He was going at him 100%. When Superman had to fight back, he did, but Batman always had a way to counter.
Right.
But it still felt like Superman wasn't trying to kill Batman.
Of
wasn't
course
trying to stop him.
Because he's in love with him.
And that's why Batman ended up winning.
Because Superman's in love with him.
Can't fight against his heart. But it was very good. I recommend part 1 and 2.
I'm hoping they come out with a compilation soon.
Yeah, that's what I would wait for if I were you guys. I'd wait for a single Blu-ray disc that contains both of them or some kind of a combo pack with both movies in it. It's worth getting both and watching them back to back, but part 2 I was more impressed with than part 1.
Yeah, agreed.
It almost felt like a completely different movie too.
And it may be different if we had watched them together back to back. It may felt like it flowed a little bit. I mean, it still flowed well together, but it did feel like 2 different movies.
Yeah, but it was very good. Highly recommend Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. Go out there and watch it. But I think that will do it for this week. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns was great. Some good DC books. I guess you didn't have a pass of the week, right?
Probably The Dark Knight.
Legends of the Dark Knight was your pass? My pass of the week was Rorschach. My pick of the week was Superior Spider-Man.
My pick of the week was Green Lantern.
Make sure to find us on Twitter, @ReasonsI'mBroke. Let us know what made you broke this week, #ReasonsI'mBroke.
If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. And make sure to catch us next week.
Also on iTunes, if you can please leave us a review on there. It helps other viewers, other listeners find us. And we are also on iTunes, of course. I'm going to update it with more episodes probably this week.
We don't have many more to put up there, do we?
No, we're almost all caught up.
Perfect.
Otherwise, see you next week. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.